The book is, at the present moment, called Lament for the Makers, Dressmakers and Fishermen. And it's a braided essay collection that's looking at this matrilineal line of my great-grandmother and my grandmother, both of whom were dressmakers, first in Paris, then in New York. And so that's one strand of the braid. That's the dressmakers. The other strand is fishermen up in the Canadian Maritimes, where I've been going since I was a child. And so I've taken on this bizarre challenge of trying to look at what these two small, distinct cultures have in common, or what they have to say to one another over a period of 150 years. Both these cultures that perfectly suited their time and the social circumstances of the makers in both circumstances, dressmakers and fishermen. And, both about also how small enterprises now, based on incredible human inventiveness and wiliness, have such a hard time succeeding in the era of rampant corporate monoculture. It's about fashion in part, and I've never written about dresses or fashion, and so it's been really fun for me to throw a monkey wrench into my usual subject matter and see what happens when I do that. I'm really interested in place as a kind of vessel for meaning, for belonging. Aristotle says to be in a place is like to be held in a vessel. But the places are largely this island in the Canadian Maritimes that has this very distinctive herring fishery, and then the two cities where my grandmother and great-grandmother lived, New York and Paris. So it's very strongly place-based in that respect. I think a lot of people grow up with this stereotype that writers are these, hyper-individualistic people. It's all about individual genius, sitting in your attic, waiting for wisdom to arrive on the page. But I had a couple of experiences early on that really made it clear to me that if I was going to sustain myself for the long haul as a writer, community was going to matter a lot to me. One was a fellowship at the Fine Arts Work Center in Provincetown right after I'd finished my MFA. I really encourage people to apply for this. It's a 7-month fellowship, and it is for both writers and visual artists. So any residency that gives you time away from the demands of the day, that gives you a community where other people are struggling with the silence on the page or taking on a project that seems ridiculous but that you can't let go of, which is what we do as writers, right? You have to find what mental tricks work for you to take yourself seriously as an artist first. If other people do later on, great. But if you wait for them to tell you, yeah, you're really doing it, it could be a wicked long wait. And there will be, peaks and valleys in a writing life. And to sustain yourself over the long haul, you need that internal sense that, okay, this may be a lifelong apprenticeship, but I know this is what I meant to be doing. I'm committed to it. I'm committed to taking myself seriously and sort of inventing myself as an artist, even before I maybe have produced the work that I think I might be able to produce. I think we'll always fall short of what we imagine we'll accomplish, right? We just do. And it's that sense of the inadequacy of all of our art that keeps us doing something new, doing something more, looking for the next project. But yes, I think especially for women, when you're treated dismissively or with ridicule or with other kinds of harassment, yes, hold people accountable, but don't internalize it if it's at all possible and say, this isn't about my work, this is about this person's issues. My work is mine and they can't take it away from me.